A Filipino female assassin faked her own death in order to let go of her assassin life and live a normal life. But when her former boss found out, he tried to eliminate her and her family. In an ordinary household, Maria woke up next to her husband, Bert, and gave the latter a kiss before checking on their daughter, Min Min. Maria then made breakfast, which Bert wanted to skip because he needed to check the restaurant for the meet and greet with Governor Villanueva. Maria persuaded him to eat breakfast before he leaves, stating that Bert shouldn't get too involved in politics as all politicians are the same. A man named Ricardo de la Vega watched a press conference of Governor Villanueva, getting angry as the governor denied being partners with Ricardo and said that once he got elected president, he'd send the de la Vegas to prison. One of his men then led him outside the office to show him the two beaten-up traitors. Ricardo berated the two traitors before beating up the man who led him outside, knowing that he was a traitor too. Then he ordered two of his female assassins to kill the two tied-up traitors before going down to business. Ricardo explained that Governor Villanueva was talking too much and needed to be shut up, as their clients were getting nervous that he might reveal something that might put them in jeopardy. Caleb offered to send his men to assassinate Governor Villanueva, but Victor disagreed, not trusting Caleb enough after Caleb almost failed his previous mission of killing a guy named Santiago, which caused the authorities to put them under investigation. But Ricardo agreed, and Victor couldn't do anything about it anymore. Maria and Bert were watching the news about Governor Villanueva being interviewed about the controversy involving him. Bert commented that the media was just making Governor Villanueva look bad because he believed that the governor was a good guy and the only hope for their nation. Maria was irritated because of this and sarcastically feigned agreement with what Bert said. Bert was annoyed because of this, and Maria said that she was just kidding. The next day, the family attended a rally for Governor Villanueva, and one of Caleb's men was lurking, taking pictures of everyone in the vicinity and sending them to Caleb. After the rally, Maria went back home, where she argued with Bert. The latter was upset and confused at Maria's hostility towards the governor, and Maria explained that because of Governor Villanueva, Bert was neglecting his family. Meanwhile, Caleb was looking at the pictures sent to him when he saw a picture of Maria and her family. He was surprised to see Maria and stepped out of his car to look for her, but he couldn't find her anywhere. Caleb had thought that Maria was dead, and finding out that she was actually alive made him feel betrayed and angry. Maria was in fact an assassin called Lily, and was in a relationship with Caleb who really loved her. But Maria was already getting tired of all the killings and wanted a normal life. So Caleb promised her that once their mission was over, he was going to talk with Ricardo about her desire to leave the life of an assassin. But things didn't go as Caleb and Maria planned. During their last mission together, where they had to kill Santiago, Maria was the first to infiltrate the mansion and kill Santiago and his men. But then she saw Felicia, Santiago's wife, holding her daughter as they both cried, and Maria just couldn't kill them. Caleb entered the room and ordered his man to kill the mother and daughter, but Maria killed the man and shot Caleb in the leg before escaping with Felicia and the child. Back in the present day, Victor sent some of his men to help Caleb with his mission, and Caleb ordered his current girlfriend and second-in-command, Miru, to lead the group to tail Governor Villanueva and assassinate him once they get an opening. He, on the other hand, would lead the other group in searching for Maria. They kidnapped Bert's nephew, and Caleb tortured him until he finally told them where Maria lived. Meanwhile, Maria was in the market when she felt like she was being followed. She tried to run away from the men tailing her and knocked them all down when she got cornered. Maria rushed back home and told Bert that they needed to leave immediately. But Bert didn't want to leave without any explanation, and Min Min was getting scared of her mother's weird actions. Before the family could leave, they heard the doorbell ringing, and despite Maria trying to stop him, Bert went to answer the door. He saw his bloody nephew crying and apologizing to him before he got shot in the head by Caleb, who took Bert as a hostage. Seeing that her family was in danger, Maria relented and put her gun down, allowing Caleb's men to hold her. But Min Min ran towards Bert, and Caleb shot her dead, causing her parents to scream in despair as they witnessed the death of their only child. Maria then fought against Caleb's men, while Bert did the same with Caleb. When Maria was about to get shot, Bert saw it and jumped to shield her from the bullets, dying for protecting his wife. Maria then fought Caleb and was able to shoot him before running to hide from his men, who kept on firing at her as Caleb escaped. After killing all of Caleb's men, Maria cradled her daughter and wept. Wanting to avenge her family, Maria took the knife she always used when she was still an assassin and left after bidding farewell to the family she had just lost. Caleb, on the other hand, was bleeding inside his car as he called Miru to stop her mission and fall back. He then called Ricardo and informed him about Maria. Ricardo was exasperated after finding out that Lily had been alive all along under the name of Maria, and Victor took this opportunity to pass the blame on Caleb, stating that it's always him who causes problems. Victor advised Ricardo to take a trip and let him handle the situation before leaving without waiting for Ricardo to respond. The next day, the authorities were investigating the crime scene, which is Maria's house, and news about a father and a child being found dead in their own home with several other unknown men was spread around. A police officer, who is actually another one of Ricardo's men, informed Ricardo that this situation was going to be very bad for them, especially since a child was also killed. So Ricardo ordered the police officer to do anything he could to prevent the authorities from getting wind of their crimes. Maria went to a restaurant where a man named Greg was hiding. Greg was surprised to see Maria and knew that Maria was up to a dangerous mission. He immediately refused to help Maria, as he too wanted to finally have some peace and quiet. Greg stated that he wanted to leave and get far away from the syndicate led by Ricardo. Later on, Greg tended to Maria's wounds as he asked Maria what happened to her after she supposedly died. Greg was happy at first when he learned that Maria had gotten herself a happy family, but that happiness turned into pity when he learned that Caleb had killed Maria's husband and daughter. That was enough to convince Greg to let Maria stay with him for a while as she planned out how to avenge her family. Meanwhile, Caleb had ordered Miru, who hated Maria for still having an effect on Caleb, to eliminate Maria, whom he knew was hiding with Greg. Before Miru left, Caleb reminded her that Greg had an agreement with his family. Therefore, she is not allowed to harm Greg. Miru went to Greg's restaurant, bravely putting herself in the middle of Greg's minions. Greg called for his strongest man, Bogart, whom Miru easily knocked down. Greg praised Miru for her skill, and Miru left after proving that she wouldn't touch Greg just as long as he understood he couldn't meddle in her mission to eliminate Maria. Maria, on the other hand, infiltrated Ricardo's factory, where they packed drugs for clients. After eliminating all the guards and the chemists in the factory, Maria set the factory on fire and walked away as it exploded behind her. Talking with Greg, Maria was reminded of the day Greg was ordered to kill her after she turned her back on them during the Santiago mission. But Greg was the one who trained Maria to become an assassin, and he just couldn't kill the girl he treated like a daughter. So Greg decided to just let Maria take a pill that would give her an easy death so she could kill herself, not wanting to have Maria's blood in his hands. Then he showed her body to Caleb to prove that he had done what they asked him to. That fateful day was the reason Greg retired from being an assassin. Back in the present, Greg reminded Maria that she could still find happiness as long as she was breathing. Meanwhile, Caleb was drinking his sorrow away, still unable to accept the fact that the Lily he once loved was actually alive and already had a family. Victor came to inform him that he would be taking over Caleb's mission, which angered Caleb. Caleb pointed a gun at Victor, who just put his head against the gun's head, challenging Caleb. When Caleb didn't pull the trigger, Victor left in triumph, and the former promised to kill him one day. Back to Maria, Greg showed her where he kept his weapons, and once she got what she needed, Maria went to the club where she thought Caleb was. Miru saw her from the second floor and followed her into the restroom, where they engaged in a fight. Maria won the fight after bashing Miru's head on the sink a few times. Leaving the restroom, Maria encountered a few more men before she reached the club manager, asking him where Caleb was. Maria was about to leave after the manager handed her a phone that she could use to contact Caleb when the manager made a comment regarding her family. Angered, Maria forced the manager to swallow a lot of pills to kill him before pouring all his money for the clubgoers to enjoy. The next day, Ricardo was telling Victor to eliminate Governor Villanueva while Caleb would focus on Maria. Victor complained, as he believed Caleb wouldn't be able to handle Maria, just like he couldn't kill her before. But Ricardo spoke over Victor, warning him not to go against his decisions and to accept his fate, that he would never be head of their family. Victor left in silent anger, unable to do anything. When Caleb called to tell him to go to the docks at night so he could help eliminate Maria, Victor found the opportunity to hit two birds with one stone. He ordered his female assassin, Wednesday, to go to the docks, kill both Maria and Caleb, and not leave any survivors. Caleb, on the other hand, also called Maria, who was talking with Greg, to meet him at the docks. Later that night, Maria sneaked into the docks and shot the guards on her way. Caleb and Wednesday heard the gunshots, and Wednesday made a move to get to Maria but was stopped by Caleb. They listened in as Maria killed all of Caleb's guards that she encountered, and Wednesday made fun of Caleb's subordinates for losing against one woman. Caleb laughed at Wednesday, telling the latter that Maria would rip her head off any day. One of Caleb's men that was with him tried to radio his teammates, but no one was answering anymore. So Caleb decided to let Wednesday go out and deal with Maria. He stood to follow Wednesday out of his office, but was unable to do so when Wednesday and her men started firing at the office, killing Caleb's guards that were with him. While she and her men were busy with Caleb, Maria was hiding nearby, throwing smoke bombs at them. Victor and more of his men then arrived, but when they stepped out of their vehicles, his men started falling one by one because of Greg, who was hiding in a building and sniping his men down. Victor called Greg, knowing it was him who killed his men, and warned Greg about their deal, which is to not harm each other in any way. Greg explained that he didn't harm Victor in any way, only his men, and if he were to tell Ricardo about it, the latter would side with Greg once he found out Victor was trying to kill his own brother. Furious but scared for his own safety, Victor got back in his car and drove away. Meanwhile, Maria was smoothly winning against both Caleb and Victor's men. When Wednesday sneaked behind her and attacked her, Maria didn't even break a sweat as she effortlessly broke Wednesday's neck. Maria then chased Caleb and tackled him down upon reaching him. Both took off their weapons, silently agreeing to spar using their bare hands. Before they began to fight, Caleb shared how betrayed he felt by the woman he loved and trusted, but Maria wasn't having it, as the only thing she could remember was how Caleb killed her family. The former lovers then began the battle between them. Caleb taunted Maria, telling her that she can never escape death, and when Maria got the upper hand, he stated that Lily, or Maria, is the death herself. Maria agreed with what Caleb said before slitting his neck. After the fight between Caleb and Maria in the docks, Ricardo and Victor retrieved Caleb's body to give him a proper burial. Looking at the corpse of his son, Ricardo was furious and ordered Victor to avenge his brother for him. Victor, on the other hand, just stayed silent because deep inside, he also wanted his own brother dead. In the epilogue scene of the film, Maria was seen drinking alone when Greg approached her, handing her a bag of money. The two of them drank together in silence, basking in their success. But deep inside, they knew it wasn't over yet. The film ended with Maria and Greg putting their drinks down and looking each other in the eye.